This is the 1964 Meyers Manx, the world's first fiberglass dune buggy, Old Red. This car matters because of what happened after I did this. Of course, at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. 50 years? Oh my God. You can't imagine what'll take place. The name came from the fact that it has its tail up in the air. It's kind of back there like a Manx cat. And I remember driving it out on the street the first time. I stopped at a signal. Everybody at the four parts of that big intersection were staring at this little red car, wondering they'd never seen one. That's what the car did. It made everybody start to look at it. If you want to attract attention, get one of those things. The ergonomics were wrapped around the Volkswagen basics. The seat, the steering wheel, the column, all that are exactly like a stock Volkswagen. Old Red is the very first fiberglass dune buggy. I'm called the inventor of the dune buggy. I'm not. I'm really the inventor of the fiberglass dune buggy. Because I had been a fiberglass boat builder for several years, I was very, very expert. And it doesn't have the kinds of mistakes that people make with fiberglass. Millions of sailboats are sitting out in the weather. They're just finished in gel coat, which came out of the mold. Well, I just brought the gel coat to the kit car world. The buildup of the gel coat gives you a lot of protection because when you scratch it up, you can always wet sand it and polish it out. If it's a real Meyers Manx, you can park your butt on that fender anytime. The other thing about the fender, it has to be flat on the top to sit a beer on. Or, pardon me, a Coke. I'm a longtime art student, and a sense of style and shape and form and all that is a big deal with me. As a little boy, I loved the funnies on Sundays because they were in 4 colors, and Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, they all drove these funny little cars with great big fat wheels on them. So the art training, the childhood memories, and my experience in fiberglass led to the creation of the fiberglass dune buggy. In the business of going off-road, you don't need, for instance, sides. All I'm going to do is scratch them all up, so I just pulled them off. It's like an old woman and her skirts, or walking through a puddle. You hold the skirts up to walk through a puddle. Well, get rid of them. The first dune buggies were called water pumpers because they were made out of old Fords and Chevys and Plymouths. And all they did was bolt the engine, tranny, and the rear axle all in one lump. And some guy sitting in a little monkey seat driving the whole thing. And I watch these other dune buggies and I see what they need to be. They need to be short. They need to be light. You have to have a floor. It's some 8 or 10 inches off the ground. I put the wheels with the front axle of a Volkswagen, hooking them together, and I had the transmission of the Volkswagen and the engine, and they were sitting up on blocks, and I placed them where I thought they should be. Well, you're going to drive off-road. Well, you need to see the road right in front of you, so you can't have a big hood up in front of you. So it's a little wonder car that way. The layout gives you all that. Dune buggies are not very pretty, but this one I decided I don't want to be an unpretty dune buggy anymore. A woman's hip is very important. That comes into play a lot. Sounds kind of sexy, doesn't it? But it's pretty important. It drives us. One car designer called that thing a car with a bikini. I love it. It's so simple. I had an article from Car and Driver magazine written by Steve Smith, a dear friend, and he just set the world on fire with his car and his way of the use of words and his romancing everybody. Well, we suddenly had 350 orders or more. And when one set of molds, you got a 1.5 years work. Old Red is 50 years old. It doesn't seem like it. It's sort of a reflection of my lifestyle, which was all about being free, which is the very characteristic of the Meyers Manx and my life.
Here's the first Meyers Manx, 1964 Meyers Manx body.
To see my car at such a place as the fanciest kind of car shows with the most wonderful Duesenbergs and Rolls Royces and underslungs and all that stuff. Oh my goodness, what have I done? And when they reach out of the stands and yell and wave and clap their hands, I'm just overwhelmed. I feel so lucky to be where I am. And that crazy thing that I did was so well taken by the world, not just the guys around the corner, but the whole world. I'm Bruce Meyers, and this car matters.